How are you today, anyway?
I'm alright. I'm just ready to go to get to.
Okay. How long before you have to leave?
Maybe 10 o'clock, maybe after.
Okay.
Because,
How to be a good Egyptian is about my relationship with my grandmother. She's Egyptian, and she came to to Australia, when like in the 70s, the early 70s. I find it quite difficult to talk to her about stuff beyond, small talk, basically. I guess that's, the generation gap. The only thing that we really have to talk about most of the time is food. My food intolerances and how to make good food. We both share a love of good food and healthy food, so that's something that I can definitely connect with her about. And she is quite a good cook, and so I sometimes ask her for advice on how to cook particular things, especially Egyptian food. So she told me how to make chickpea soup, and through talking to her about that, it allowed me to kind of ask her a bit more about her specifically. And I asked her about my grandfather, who has dementia, and so he's in the quite late stages of dementia now, and he's in a nursing home. So she's quite lonely and she feels quite useless. And so it was really nice to kind of get her to open up a little bit more about herself, instead of, because I think she sees herself as more a prosthetic limb to my grandfather as opposed to her own person. So it was nice to kind of ask her about her life. So I got her talking and had the conversation, and then I made the soup. I made the chickpea soup. And that side was just as important as the conversation, I thought, because it was about that sharing, that Egyptian hospitality that is really important to Egyptians. It was that idea of bonding over food again, and so me making that soup was a sort of, because I'm not that great a cook, it was an achievement for me in a way, and it was a way of making my grandma proud. And at the same time kind of sharing a bit of Egypt with Australians. I had the conversation with my grandmother in which she describes how to make chickpea soup, playing over the top of a performance. I guess it was a performance where I served chickpea soup that I had made according to her directions. So while people were eating this very hearty, warm meal in the freezing cold Footscray, they could hear my conversation with my grandmother, and not only did they hear about the chickpea soup, but they also heard about my grandma's life and whatnot. So it was it was a good way for people to kind of get that whole Egyptian experience. In some ways, contemporary art is a completely closed box to her, and this idea that you could cook for a performance that could be a performance is quite alien to her. But she also, I get the impression that she gets the impression that I know what I'm doing, I guess.
before you cook,
Yeah.
alright? Like you said tonight,
Yeah.
and next morning you cook. Why you want to make food?
Because it's kind of like an Egyptian sort of food. Like it's something very Egyptian, and it's
Egyptian breakfast or something.
and it's easy for me to make, and